Ahead on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
On this week's special edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman, all-time favorite Cattleman to Cattleman stories from the past 5 years.
And now, a special edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman with host Kevin Oxner.
Hello and welcome to this week's special edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. I'm Kevin Oxner. Thanks for joining us. It's hard to believe we've been on the air for 5 seasons already. And this week we're dusting off some of our favorite stories from the Cattleman to Cattleman vault. Let's take a look. In northeastern Nebraska, the Albers family is a fixture. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Todd McCartney had the chance to spend a day in the life of this Midwestern feed yard.
In northeastern Nebraska, the Albers family is a fixture. Jeff is the latest in the line to make his living in agriculture. He follows in the footsteps of his great-grandfather, who started the family business in 1926.
We're a 19,000 head feed yard, and we were established back in 1926 by my grandfather. My great-grandfather originally purchased this farm in the early 1900s, and so that would make me 4th generation on this feed yard today.
Family is a core value in agriculture, and at Herb Albers Feedlots in Wisner, Jeff knows the advantages and values that a family business can bring to agriculture.
It's really an asset to be really family-based. You know kind of what the family's vision is and what we're here to try and do. And it offers a lot of continuity, and it also probably makes you a little better steward of the farm.
Before I came back here, I was in the pharmaceutical industry for about 8 years and really enjoyed that opportunity right out of college. It was a great job and got to know lots of people and made lots of contacts, but always wanted to get back in production agriculture. And my father-in-law was very generous, and my brother-in-law, and allowed me to come back here to the operation and become very, very involved. And it's just been an outstanding opportunity to get our kids back close to the farm and close to the family.
Each day brings risk and rewards for this family business. But when it comes to why Jeff does what he does for a living, he takes his cue from his grandfather.
Every day is a new challenge. Every day is a new reward. I guess we're really rooted into just rural ag in that we're producing something. I guess that's always been my goal. That was something my grandfather shared with me, that it would be important to produce something in your life. And so that's what we're doing.
Nebraska's easy access to packing plants attracts customers from every state. Still, cattle feeding can be a challenging business in today's world.
A lot of neat things happen in a feed yard, and sometimes we're not perceived by the public in the best eye. And that's probably the thing that I worry about the most, is just perception of what we're doing and who we're serving.
Some of the biggest challenges I think that face feeders today, and this could be widely variable, of course, recently, has been the challenge in the market environment. Feed costs have really been challenging. Fortunately, we live here in northeast Nebraska where we have an abundant supply of distillers grains, and that's helped quite a bit.
Todd is serving as president of the Nebraska Cattlemen's Association this year. His firsthand experience with the issues facing the industry is why he supports the National Cattlemen's Beef Association.
We need to belong to something that is bigger than us. NCBA gives us a voice in the industry. NCBA allows us to be in Washington every day. They allow us to be watching consumer issues every day. And they help us keep a pulse on what's going on out there. Even though on a daily basis I'm here at the office worrying about what's happening here, I know there's somebody watching that.
For the last 82 years, the Albers family gets up every day and meets the challenges in front of it. Despite all the risk, there's a reward for being a Nebraska cattleman.
Family. Has to be family. That would be the best thing about being a cattleman in Nebraska, is family and watching it, and in conjunction with other families. You know, we 4-H quite a bit, and FFA, and all those things are very enjoyable.
Reporting from Nebraska, I'm Todd McCartney for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Every family has important traditions throughout the year, but for one family operation in Weatherford, Texas, branding is the main event that brings everyone together. Reporter Brian Baxter explains how a strong family connection helps leave a legacy.
T.B. Saunders I came to Texas in 1850. And my great-grandfather, who came with him, he was 5 years old. And he rode a horse all the way out of Mississippi to Texas when they settled in Gonzales County. And they drove a small herd of cattle.
Tom B. Saunders IV and his family have been in the ranching business for 6 generations. Hard work and determination are values that have defined the Saunders family from the beginning.
Times was really tough. My great-great-uncle and his brother Jack was told by their mother to take 8 steers and trail them south and see if they couldn't trade them for something. And when they got back, they had like 5 pounds of coffee. They had 3 place settings of silverware, which that was really rare, and some cups and some spurs and some bits. And she was just tickled to death, you know, that they got so much plunder with 8 head of cattle.
With all their cattle experience, the Saunders family was instrumental in establishing the Fort Worth stockyards.
My grandfather was the first cattle dealer to go to Fort Worth, and that was in 1902, and we were there 75 years. And I closed the office down right after my dad passed away in 75. So, you know, we were at Fort Worth Stockyards from the time it started till the time it ended.
Today, Tom's son, Thomas Saunders V, and the rest of his family help run Saunders Twin V Ranch in Weatherford, Texas.
I'm from the leg that comes from T.B. Saunders III. So he bought this ranch in 1934, and he put this place together here in Parker County, and he gave it a brand, and that brand is the Twin V that you see now on the front of the barn. It's 2 V's, one on top of the other, and the V stood for his wife was named Virginia, and then his sister was named Benita. So that's where the 2 V's came from.
And family is just as important now as it was 150 years ago, so much so that not even spring break can keep the youngest members away.
Spring break, we try to use all the free help that we can get. All the kids come in. It's Brandon time here.
I can't miss Brandon. It's the biggest part of all of it. I just feel like I'm missing out if I don't come back.
We're on spring break, and spring break every year we get together and all of us come up and we brand the cattle and work them, and it's a lot of fun.
And branding is one tradition that will stay in the family for many years to come.
Everybody gets to come and help, and you're all kind of cracking jokes and having fun, and everybody's together.
Run out there and throw one down and give me shots, and it's good to go.
The morals and values that defined the early Saunders family members have been instilled in each generation.
It's a wonderful experience to have everyone here and help everybody, and you're all close. I live right by my grandparents. I get to see them all the time, and they're a big influence on me and who I am, and it's wonderful.
And my 3 kids raised here, and I got 2 girls and a boy, and of course they all like to work cattle, and they all ride, and they all live here on the ranch. We've been fortunate and had a lot of fun doing it.
This is just the richest way of life for us. Just everybody's here. I mean, look at them. Everybody's having fun, and I really do feel like inheritance is something that you borrow from your children, and so I'm glad to have them here. It means the world. I mean, to just be out here and be able to take a deep breath and ride good horses and watch the kids.
Along with strong family values, the Saunders also attribute their hard work and perseverance to the success and longevity of their operation.
Well, success is it's like my dad always said, you know, cow business is really not a business, it's just a way of life. And so you just do like the old boys is going up the trail when you hit hard weather, you know, you put your slicker on and kept on going. Same way in the cattle business, you know, when you hit hard times, you just suck it up and keep it rolling and hope for a good one.
We've got a long legacy of being up and being down. My family's been at it a long time, and we're lucky to say that we've just dug in and held on.
For Leslie and Madeline, Saunders Ranch has always been a big part of their lives, and they hope it's also a big part of their future.
We're not going far. We'll be here. I feel best on the back of a horse, and that's just what I do.
I plan to keep it with me as long as I can.
And each generation is just as excited as the next.
Saunders Ranch!
Reporting from Saunders Ranch in Weatherford, Texas, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Do you know of an interesting cattle operation that should be featured on Cattleman to Cattleman? Contact us at c2c@beef.org. We'll be right back.
When predicting the genetic merit of young Angus cattle, some genomic tests only give you part of the story. For the most complete and dependable evaluation of genetic potential, with more markers and coverage for economically important traits, there's only one genomic test that won't leave Angus breeders in the dark.
Grow more low-cost forage and improve grazing access by clearing out weeds and brush with these Dow AgroSciences herbicides. See your Dow AgroSciences representative or visit rangeandpasture.com.
Well, I think a rancher has to be a steward of the land. There's nobody else that can take care of land better than a rancher. When we switched over to the Purina products, it was a step in the right direction.
The difference we see in the cattle is the consistency of their nutrition.
The cattle hold their condition a lot better throughout the whole year.
It does make a difference that we can see, day in and day out.
Take the 60-day challenge and save up to $55 on Purina feed. Sign up at purinadifference.com.
Tucked away in Northern Virginia is an operation where cattle, horses, and crops all share the land. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Dave Russell has more from Lazy Lane Farm.
It's a little different every day. Everything changes with the seasons. You get a fresh crop of foals every year, a fresh crop of calves, a fresh crop of just about everything.
We run 70 spring calving cows, 70 fall calving cows. So there's always something going on, always calving and checking the cattle real quick in the morning and the health of those, the rotational of our forage program, and then the cropping, wheat, soybean rotation with all the hay we need for the horse operation and the cattle.
On this 1,800-acre farm in Northern Virginia, cattle share the land with top-notch thoroughbred horses. It's a diverse operation that works well for General Manager Frank Shipp and Cattle Manager Jim Wiley.
Well, having them all together, it allows us to run an integrated operation here on the farm and use the land really for what it's intended to be used for and what it has its best use for. And rotating cattle in and out of the horse fields is good for the land, and producing good top quality beef is also important to us.
I love being diverse, and that makes everything interesting. You know, there's certain land better for the horses, and then this rougher mountain land at the foothills here is much better for cattle. And the middle land is our crop ground, and it all works well together. I like the the variety.
Lazy Lane Farm is home to a registered Angus seed stock herd, and with careful management, the Angus genetics have been continually improving.
Every year it's a little harder to get a top group picked out. We're getting the quality up that much. It used to be you only had a few good ones and you had a few bad ones, and you had to sort through the middle, but now it's we have good bulls all the way through.
Jim Wiley believes the secret to success at Lazy Lane is not only the quality of their cattle, but their commitment to customer service.
We got environmental adaptability, disposition. These cows like this country right here, and got a lot of repeat buyers. The cattle are pretty trouble-free. We've eliminated a lot of the problems and a lot of the hassles. They do, they're real set of forage cows. They do well on grass, and with not a whole lot of supplement or hand care.
With the most recent fall calving season, there was a big surprise at Lazy Lane, a very rare, healthy set of triplet Angus heifer calves.
I seen a cow had a calf. I knew the calf wasn't up to size, and she was looking back in the trees, so I figured there was a twin. I told her, I'll go get your other half, and when I went to get the other, I figured a twin. She had two back there, and she had them all cleaned and fed by the time I found her, and everything's going well so far.
Jim says the triplet heifers are healthy and thriving and got a whole lot of attention.
Everybody got a little farmer in them, and when something like that comes along, they all want a picture and ask about how the girls are doing.
Beyond the Angus triplets, Lazy Lane is well known for its champion thoroughbred horses, including Hansel, a horse with real heart who made a big impact on the racing circuit a few years back.
He was champion 3-year-old colt of 1991, won 2/3 of the Triple Crown, the Preakness, and the Belmont. Started favorite for the Derby, but didn't run a particularly good race that day. But he earned almost $3 million. He's now 23 years old, and he'll be here for as long as he lives.
Cattle, horses, and crops. It's a combination that works for Lazy Lane, and they rely on organizations like NCBA for information and education to help their growing beef business.
That is a group which is dedicated to producing top quality beef animals and doing things the right way. And so to be able to participate and be a member of that also gives us a chance to operate at top efficiency.
Reporting from Upperville, Virginia, I'm Dave Russell for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Did you know the chances of having triplet calves is only 1 in 700,000? We're glad to hear they're doing well. Now, something most of us don't see every day. Nearly 20 head of Longhorns making their way through the middle of town at the Fort Worth Stockyards. The drovers who put on this unique event are hoping to teach kids about the history of cattle drives in Texas. Reporter Brian Baxter has more.
We pretty much just ride around, talk to the people, try to educate them about the cattle drive.
The Fort Worth Cattle Drive was designed to be a temporary project to celebrate the 150th anniversary of the city of Fort Worth. But people loved it so much it turned into a Texas tradition that's lasted for more than a decade.
Fort Worth was the last stopping point before they actually started into Indian Territory. So the city thought that it'd be a good idea to, reenact this, and they actually drove them down the streets of downtown Fort Worth before they moved out to the stockyards.
This event is just a tiny glimpse of what a real cattle drive looked like back in the late 1800s.
The people are actually seeing, unfortunately, only 17 head of Longhorn going down. So we explained to them that there were 2,000 and 3,000 head at one time going up there. So they're getting an idea of what the Longhorns look like when they're actually in a herd.
They're neat because they're not like the other cows.
Spectators get an up-close look at the Longhorns as they pass by just a few feet from the crowd.
They do come really close so you can see the horns right beside you. Well, they curl forward like they're coming out, and they're about this long from their head and they come forward.
Even though the Longhorns come close, the cattle drive is safe and the drovers are well trained to handle any situation.
We get all Longhorn that have never had any human contact, and that's really important so that they don't try to go towards a human and think that they mean food or anything like that. The horses know their job, so It's pretty easy, pretty laid back.
We do have some that want to go on the curb or don't want to exactly go where we want them to go, so they can see the drovers actually moving the cattle. The drover moved back and forth to keep the cattle going straight down the street.
While it's fun to watch, the main purpose of the cattle drive is to educate kids on Texas history.
Fort Worth is cow town, so I think it's just important that we educate people about what a rich history this place has, and I think it's very cool that we still do something that's such a pastime and let kids who are in Texas history, it's a big deal. This went on a lot right after the Civil War, so we try to help the kids with learning about that.
If you just walk up and down the street, you see the cattle, you go, okay, yeah, I can go out to a ranch and see the cattle out there. But if they come up and talk to us, we can actually explain to them what the Texas history was, how Texas actually got their economy back after the war between the states, because Texas didn't have an economy. Texas wasn't able to grow cotton at the time. They didn't have tobacco products. They didn't have citrus like they do now. The only thing they had was beef on a hoof.
Kids weren't the only ones getting a history lesson. Many adults also lined the streets to get a good look at the Longhorns.
Not only do we teach the young child why we're doing this, but we also get to teach the adult who may have been in a city all his life, watch the TVs and go, well, wait a minute, this isn't what I've seen on TV, so we get everybody encompassed again.
I hope that people just see that it is something that's very cool and something that we still can do today.
If it hadn't been for some entrepreneurs and some very ingenious individuals knowing how to get those cattle up the trail, Texas probably wouldn't be the great state it is now.
Reporting from the Fort Worth stockyards, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
The cattle drive at the Fort Worth stockyards takes place twice a day, every day.
Ever think a John Deere utility tractor was in your future? Then the future is now. For a limited time, a versatile 5D or 5E can be yours at the biggest savings in memory. You'll get a $1,500 implement bonus plus 0% financing for 60 months. Own a large acreage, hobby farms and ranches. The 5D is the perfect fit. Or step up to a 5E for tougher chores. Either way, you save. But see your Deere dealer today. Offer ends July 31st.
They're out there, lurking on your pasture, just waiting to infect your cattle as they graze. Cattle worms cost you money, but a Safeguard strategic deworming program allows you to deworm your cattle and lower worm burdens on your pasture, resulting in improved pregnancy rates and heavier calf weights. Plus, there's a Safeguard form for every operation. So start killing parasites where they lurk. Talk to your animal health provider today about a Safeguard strategic dewormer program. Safeguard. Think strategically. Act decisively.
Assuring beef quality begins with dedicated people such as Phoebe Bittler, a dairy producer, and Jim Warren, a cattle auction market owner. Both are winners of the Beef Checkoff-funded National Beef Quality Assurance Award, and both recognize the need for the entire industry to focus on beef quality.
We've tried to put our best foot forward and try to see that the product that we send out of this country is the most wholesome, safest, best product that anybody could have anywhere. And to be complimented for that effort is an amazing experience.
It's all important, and I think there's some really good protocols laid out in the Beef Quality Assurance Program that will help producers to do the best job that they can do.
Producers across the nation have embraced the BQA program because they're committed to producing the world's best beef. To find out how you can compete for the BQA National Awards, visit the website bqa.org.
Welcome back. It's a farm with a rich American history dating back to one of the first governors of Maryland. The Y. Angus Plantation on the state's eastern shore has hosted dignitaries and heads of state. And it's now home to a cow herd owned by the University of Maryland. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brian Baxter has more from Queenstown, Maryland.
It goes back, William Paca, one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence for Maryland, actually lived at this site. The manor house that you see in the background is actually the foundation of where that house is located is the original Paca house. So there's a lot of rich history here for Maryland as well as for the beef cattle industry.
The Paca family began the Y Plantation back in 1765 before William, now buried on the site, was elected governor of Maryland. The plantation changed hands over the years, and in the 1970s, the Houghton family donated the land to the Aspen Institute and the cattle to the University of Maryland. The operation is also well known for its role in the Middle East peace negotiations in the mid-90s.
Yeah, this was during the Middle East peace negotiations in the 90s under the Clinton administration. The Aspen Institute was housed both sides of the debate. And so for about a week or 10 days, we had, actually President Clinton flew in and landed in front of our office, and Madeleine Albright and others were here. So it really put this place on the map from an international point of view.
Today, the Y Plantation works in conjunction with the University of Maryland on both research and education. It's also home to a herd of black Angus cattle and a unique genetic base.
Well, we were blessed to have a good base of genetics and milk producing, raising good calves on grass and bulls that are fertile. And that's what the industry is looking for and coming back to Y. We were blessed when we came here to have a generous semen bank from back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. So we pulled out some bulls which we've never seen, and we used them this year and to bring back some of the older breeding, what we think are nice functional bulls and cattle.
We kind of key in on the maternal traits, the sound functional female, and producing it on a consistent basis. So we want a good top line, good feet and legs, and a good udder. We want her to breed every year. We want to have a good temperament and last a long time. Our oldest cow will turn 19 in June.
And with a focus on genetics and longevity, it's not a surprise that the plantation has a successful sale each April.
We have an annual sale the first Saturday every April, and we sell yearling bulls, 10 cow-calf pairs, and 5 heifers. And that provides us the money for the day-to-day operation so we can manage the herd. And then we do research with the USDA and the University of Maryland Animal Science Department. And we manage all that as one cohesive group.
We got them from Florida to Montana to Texas, and they're all doing very well where they're at, and you're talking all totally different climates, from heat extremes to extreme cold. And they are functional and good. And the majority of these cow calves we take out, like out to the Dakotas and Montana, they'll do better out there than they do here because of the climate. And they'll wean a better calf out there, but they want our genetics, and that's what we're producing.
We'll have more from Maryland when we return.
Comprehensive, practical, powerful. Now's the time to put the power of DNA to work in your herd with the comprehensive Igenity profile. The inside information from Igenity can help you make more confident replacement heifer and herd sire selection decisions, add marketability to your feeder cattle, make faster genetic progress, and more. The best time to get started is when you're already working cattle, during branding, weaning, or bull soundness exams. Get started today. Visit igenity.com or call 1-877-IGENITY to put the power of DNA to work in your herd.
You take pride in the beef you raise. Countless hours invested to assure a safe and wholesome calf crop. Why trust that calf crop to just anyone? Experience the new Dinklage difference with a long history and reputation for outstanding performance and cattle care. We use a combination of cutting-edge technologies and data-driven decision-making to establish our place as leaders in the cattle feeding industry. Allow Dinklage to be a part of your team in the quest to maximize your profits, with 5 locations to serve you in Wyoming, Nebraska, and Colorado. For more information on the new Dinklage difference, Stop by one of our yards or visit us on the web at dinklagefeedyards.com.
Welcome back. Let's return now to reporter Brian Baxter in Maryland at the Y. Angus plantation.
These days, the environment is a top concern for the Y plantation. The Environmental Protection Agency is making changes to how the nearby Chesapeake Bay is regulated and maintained.
The Y River is over to my right, to your left. It's a major a tributary of the Chesapeake Bay. A lot of agriculture around the Y River, like in the Chesapeake Bay. So we're working with the ag community, including the animal sector, to develop practices that can keep their industries economically viable, but at the same time protect the Chesapeake Bay.
This farm is a peninsula, so we have water on 3 sides. So we've established a 75-foot buffer all the way around, and we fenced off all our streams using best management practices. It's been a little challenging, but it hasn't been as hard as we thought. You know, the 3 things we look for with cattle are feed, shade, and water. And if you fence out these areas, shade can become a little problem, but with a little thought, we can get it done. This is such an environmentally sensitive area with the bay, with the rockfish and the crabs, and we need to leave it better than we found it. And agriculture, right or wrong, gets a lot of the blame, and so we do as much as we can for conservation practices.
Well, with me being a waterman too on the side, the bay was so polluted, and with the practices that the farmers and we are doing here today, we're trying to reduce the nitrogen runoff and the phosphorus and all that. And with these buffer strips and the intest grazing, it cuts down on all that. And that way, the rockfish will come back, the crabs will come back, and the oyster population will come back. And that's, you know, I was born and raised here, and that's one of my goals I would love to see my kids and the next generation have that I've seen.
Well, my perception of this is we can have an economically viable agriculture, and we can address the issues related to the Chesapeake Bay through good research, extension, and outreach. And Maryland farmers have done a magnificent job of implementing best management practices, including the beef and animal industry with buffers, having setbacks from our rivers and streams, keeping cattle so they don't water in our rivers and streams. We provide waters, fence out sensitive areas, things of that nature, just sort of common sense things that are not really all that expensive but can have a huge impact on water quality.
It's that focus on the future that's kept the Y. Angus plantation in business through the centuries. A balance between cattle health, quality genetics, and caring for the environment is what these cattlemen hope both their fellow producers and beef consumers will recognize for years to come.
As I say, going back to herd health, the more you vaccinate and the more you keep up to date on that, you will not have your sick animals, you'll have your production going up, and you'll not have no problems at all. And that's why we vaccinate 4 times a year. We worm, we put fly tags in. It takes a little time, but in the end, when those calves are weaned, you're getting more pounds at the end than if you're not doing it.
They know what they're getting when they come here. They know there's stability in the program, and they know that we always have the best interest in the cattlemen that buy our animals to make sure that they have a profitable business themselves. It's a closed cycle. We're dependent on good people buying our animals, and the people who buy our animals need the integrity and the reputation of our program so that they'll be interested in buying our Y cattle.
In this area, one of our county agents did a study a few years ago, and within 200 miles of where we're standing, there's about 9 million people, and those 9 million people have to eat. So we have to think, as our population keeps growing, how are we going to feed all these people? And as we get more urbanization on the East Coast and West Coast, that kind of gets pushed into the middle. So while we're not Iowa or Illinois, we still make a significant contribution to the food supply.
Reporting from the Y. Angus Plantation in Queenstown, Maryland, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Each year, state affiliates across the country nominate future beef industry leaders to attend the Young Cattlemen's Conference, or YCC. This year, 54 people made their way across the country, learning about each segment of the beef industry. Reporter Justin Field has a look at the YCC class of 2010.
This YCC trip has been great.
It's been phenomenal. It's way more than I expected.
This has been such an incredible opportunity.
It's been fantastic. It has really opened my eyes as to what goes on in the beef industry.
Future beef industry leaders gathered from 26 different states and backgrounds to experience each segment of the beef industry firsthand.
Puts us all together on a bus, and we get to see what the other portion of the cattle industry is doing with each other and how we all work together for the same common goal.
It's also great being able to meet everybody from all over the country and see how their pieces of the puzzle fit into yours and really do make such a great picture.
You know, one of the most rewarding things is when the first day, it's really, you see a group of individuals and they're a little nervous, a little unsure about what's going to happen over the course of the week. And as the trip evolves, it's exciting to see how they grow as individuals, but also how they come together as a collective group and really expand their knowledge of the industry and see where what kind of potential this industry has.
The 10-day trip includes stops at a cow-calf operation in Virginia, a feed yard in Colorado, and a McDonald's beef supplier in Chicago.
I've never been around the guys that are in the, running the feed yards and that kind of stuff. In Ohio, we don't have those kind of operations. To understand what they're doing, to understand what they're going through, just kind of puts things into perspective.
You learn the best practices from different people across the country, and it's helpful. It's to learn things that you can take back in your own operation and help yourself move forward.
This has given me some insight into political, packing industry, cow-calf. It's been able to really tie everything together for me.
One of the highlights on the trip is Boots on the Hill, where participants meet with their congressmen to discuss important beef industry issues.
I talked about the antibiotics, the use of antibiotics, about the water rights. We talked about the death tax.
It's good to visit with your congressman and kind of put all those pictures of the pieces of the puzzle into the big picture so you can get a clear picture of what our industry is all about.
I don't follow politics a lot, so it was a little bit intimidating. I had a great meeting with a former Department of Ag head from our state, and she was great. She gave me some good insight onto what I would hear from our politicians.
As the YCC class of 2010 headed home, participants hope others will also have the chance to experience the beef industry in this hands-on setting.
Anybody that has any interest whatsoever in a leadership position with any of their state, local, or national organizations needs to attend this trip. It is quite an experience.
It's been a great experience. All the contacts that I've met and the new people that I've associated with, and I can't imagine going home and not keeping up contacts with a lot of these individuals.
Reporting from Whitestone Farms in Aldie, Virginia, this is Justin Field for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Think you or someone you know might be a good YCC candidate? Contact your state cattlemen's association for more details.
Preventing cattle pink eye is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Vaccinate your animals with Piligard Pink Eye TriView to provide pink eye fighting antibodies in the tears that bathe the eye. Broad spectrum protection that cross-reacts with 103 different strains of pink eye causing bacteria. 2. Stop the flies that spread pink eye bacteria throughout the herd. Apply double barrel VP ear tags and Ultra Boss Pour-On for up to 5 months of face fly and horn fly control. 3. Manage the environment to reduce damage to the animal's eye from seed heads, pollen, and UV light, irritants that increase the risk of pink eye infection. With the right tools, preventing pink eye is as easy as 1, 2, 3.
At Cabela's Corporate Outfitters, our business is outfitting your business with everything from customized clothing and equipment to great incentives like gift cards and hunting or fishing trips. We carry more than 150,000 products, all backed by Cabela's world-famous commitment to quality and service, along with volume-based pricing for any size business or budget. You trust Cabela's with your outdoor experiences, so rely on Cabela's Corporate Outfitters to build your brand. Visit us today at cabela's.com/B2B.
Hi there, I'm Dr. Dan Thompson from Doc Talk. Each week on Doc Talk, we'll be discussing important issues such as livestock management and welfare, important and new agricultural research, and how to keep our food supply safe. My guests will include nationally and internationally known veterinarians and animal scientists. So if you farm, ranch, or eat, you'll find something of interest in every single episode. Watch Doc Talk every Monday on RFD TV at 4:30 p.m. or online at doctalktv.com.
Welcome back. In these volatile economic times, many cattlemen are finding unique ways to improve their profitability. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Mandy Carr-Johnson has more from Alabama.
Every cattle operation isn't known just for cattle. Many, like Sunshine Farms in central Alabama, wear many hats, and they all seem to fit.
I was born into it in 1940 and been in peaches ever since then, except for a few years that I was in service. We ventured into tomatoes, and then when my son got old enough, we got into the cattle, and then he started a U-pick strawberry operation about 15 years ago, and we're still in that.
We have people drive for 150 miles from here to come pick these strawberries, bring their kids, grandkids. We only have 6 acres, but you know, on that 6 acres, there's over 100,000 plants. So you go to counting strawberries per plant, it can add up to a lot of strawberries in a year's time.
Sunshine Farms has strawberries, tomatoes, peach trees, horses, and even an entertainment farm in the fall. But when the decision was made to get more serious about cattle, it was made deliberately.
In '93, I was a county agent here, and Tim Minor came in and wanted to sort of do a little different in the cattle operation instead of running commercial cattle. And I'd been involved in the genetic side of cattle business for many years and recommended doing a crossbreeding with a Simmental and Angus, primarily to make females for the ideal brood cow for this part of the world. So we bought 30 Angus cows and started crossing them, and we started keeping the bulls and selling them for herd sires for the commercial guys. And the females, they just didn't decide not to sell any, so they kept them and built a herd up to almost 400 head, and we started a bull sale in 1998. We are the largest Simmental breeder in the state of Alabama in terms of numbers registered. We've had the highest averaging yearling bull sale of all breeds in the southeast now for 4 or 5 years. So we just we invite folks to come, and we think we got a product that'll help people throughout the beef industry.
And it's not just about the products at Sunshine Farms, it's about the people.
I started here in 2001 when I come out of college, and have been here since. I'm not genetically family, but they treat me like family. We all eat Thanksgiving, Christmas dinner together. So I'm raising my kids on the farm, and that's, like I said, we're all family that work here.
It's a people thing. You know, we are very blessed with the people that work with us. We're very sincere when we talk about people don't work for us. The employees, they work with us. We're all kind of partners in this thing, because if any part of it fails, we all kind of lose.
We're very diversified, and our jobs change day to day. My main job is cattle and horses and livestock, but I know that one day I could be thinning peach trees or picking strawberries and spraying them, so it's just a day-to-day change.
We have a meeting every morning before any of us go to the field. We all meet and decide who's going which way today. And it's something you run through your head every night, and they do the same thing, and then we sort it out the next morning and go do it. And it makes it a lot easier.
Whether it's fruit or cattle, it takes a broad vision and a positive outlook to be successful.
If you're not optimistic, you couldn't stand this pressure, I don't think, from the day-to-day work. But in the thing, peaches, they set a tree and it's 4 years before it's in production and hopes to last 10 to 12 years. So when you set a tree, you're looking 15 years down the road. When we breed cattle, we're looking 2 years down the road to get the product on land. If it's a female, hopefully she'll last 10 years. So anything we do, we look in 12 to 15 years down the road.
To achieve anything, you got to be prepared to dabble on the boundary of disaster. We dabble every day. When somebody tells you it's not about money, you can bet it's always about the money. You got to have it to make things happen out here. But I can grant you this too, and I firmly believe this: if you forget about your people along the way, you're destined for failure. If you surround yourself with good folks, good things are going to happen. You work hard and you pray hard, good things will happen.
Durbin says working outside and being your own boss is a reward in itself.
It's just something that we love. You know, it's kind of like smelling plowed ground, smelling these blooms, these blossoms when they're out here, and to see a ripe peach and to see a kid sitting on the strawberry bed picking a you-pick strawberry with juice running off their elbows. It's that type of stuff.
Reporting from Sunshine Farms in Central Alabama, I'm Mandy Carr Johnson for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
We love featuring America's cattlemen on our show. Send us your story ideas. Just email us at cattleman@beef.org or find us on Facebook by searching for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Ever wonder where the beef checkoff dollar goes and what it buys? The Federation of State Beef Councils is made up of the 45 qualified state beef councils that collect the $1 per head beef checkoff. Each council keeps control of 50 cents and sends 50 cents to the Cattlemen's Beef Board for use in national beef checkoff programs. Many states also choose to send a portion of their share to the Federation to expand national and international efforts. As a division of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, the Federation of State Beef Councils works to support an effective state and national partnership, helping to increase beef demand through research, promotion, and education. Because producers themselves direct these programs, your beef checkoff dollars are in good hands. Learn more about the Federation of State Beef Councils by visiting beefusa.org.
Dust off those boots and come join us in Tampa, Florida for the 2013 Boots on the Bay Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show. This is your chance to network with industry leaders, participate in important cattle industry meetings, and learn about the newest technologies available. See what all the buzz is about at the Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show in Tampa, Florida, February 6th through the 9th. For more information, visit beefusa.org.
Let's face it, you don't think a lot about your trailer hitch. You use it and forget it. We understand. But at B&W, we think about it. Short nights, the long hauls, the never-ending chores, the unthinkable. We think about it all, so you don't have to. B&W. Trusted.
Lots of cowmen put a little extra into their calves, hoping it'll bring them another nickel at the sale, like preconditioning, early weaning, or for specialty markets. But how can the buyer trust your claim? Old vaccine bottles or your ratty tally book? Truth is, this little green ear tag will be all you need. That's what IMI Global does, third-party verification. The seal of approval, like the nutrition label on your Twinkie. Did I say Twinkie? IMIGlobal.com. Cowboys, for the most part, are male chauvinist pigs. Unfortunately, the women we hang out with are not the least bit intimidated, so what's the point? When I suggested she do dishes and later stoke the fire, because I felt that was her proper place, she calmly took the custard pie and plate of pickled beets and used it to redecorate my face. Now I know this sounds unsavory in this modern day and age when male sensitivity is in, but I think it's biological. Congenital at best, but women see things differently than men. like the importance of a curtain or a fragrance in the air, and yes, the omnipresent potted plants. They concern themselves with beauty and a certain ambiance, while I'm content to spray the place for ants. But in fairness to my jackass friends, it's not true that we don't care. We're just looking from a different point of view. To illustrate my reasoning and perhaps to shed some light, I offer this example as a clue. I was sitting with a couple when I heard the man remark, "My dear, I think I've seen that dress before." Yes, you have. I was wearing it the last time we went out. I believe it was 2004. Then she chastised him severely, and I'm sure she had a point, and I'll admit her wisdom right up front. But my simple cowboy logic led me down a different path, like blind men feeling up the elephant. If women understood our thinking, they might cut us all some slack. Maybe their attitude might soften. When he recognized his spouse's dress, well, a thought occurred to me, well, the crazy fool's taking her out too often. This is Baxter Black from out there.
Thanks, Baxter. And thank you for joining us on this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. We'll see you right back here next week on RFD TV.